Now I've come to make an announcement. Project Shadow is a very naughty friend. Repeat on my
Flipping
Lego McLaren. That's right, he took out his spinning
Fudging.
quilly disc and he
Pee-pee.
all over my
Flipping.
one car. And he said his disc was this big. And I said, that's disgusting. So I'm making a call out post on my bluesky.com. Project Shadow, you've got a small disc. It's the size of a walnut except way smaller. And guess what? Here's what my disc looks like. That's right, baby. All wheels, no quills, no pillows. It looks like a freaking orb with stolen bicycle wheels.
He fudged.
My series, so guess what? I'm gonna fudge the algorithm. That's right, this is what you get. My super laser pee. Except I'm not gonna pee on YouTube. I'm gonna go even higher. I'm gonna pee on the moon, baby. How'd you like that, Obama? I peed on the moon, you idiot! You have exactly however long this bloody episode is before the piss droplets hit the
Flipping
earth. Now get out of my
Fudging.
sight before I pee on you two. Welcome back to LEGO Wars and Heat D of Series 6. Last time out we really went on a trip as Paws and Windblade's faltering antics took the limelight away from Bricker's return to form. This week it's the first of the Retcon crew to appear as the dangerous drum of Megalodon comes in as the 7th Seeds. Joining them is the grumpy aura of Disgruntled Guardian, hoping to make it 3 Axe Seat winners out of 4 tonight. Let's see who else they're fighting tonight.
First, from Cow's Isle of Wight and seeded number 7, Megalodon.
The Retcon drum returns to LEGO Wars after a bruising time in the live scene, but they remain a major threat to the field tonight.
From the Isle of Sheppey and seeded number 22, Disgruntled Guardian.
The annoyed Axebot starts their second campaign after a surprise heat win last year, but as ever the spectre of thermal hangs over this bot.
From Alcatraz, California, Project Shadow.
After a frustrating loss in the bracket last year, Shadow has come back swinging, and after a strong run in International, they could be onto something great.
From Osaka, Japan, Egg Chopper.
A robot literally years in the making, Egg Chopper finally makes their LEGO Wars debut, boasting an impressive top speed, but the wheel mounting does look questionable.
From Devon, Kron.
One of the stalwarts of the series, Kron has started to fall back in the pecking order, and with retirement being rumoured, it needs a strong showing to show it can still fight with the best. I cannot wait for Project Shadow to face the Doctor later on tonight, but for now, Egg Chopper has the 7th Seeds for company in Fight 1.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Away we go for LEGO Wars Heat D of Series 6, and we start off with our 7th Seeds Megalodon, a quarter-finalist last time out, and rookies Egg Chopper. Egg Chopper, I've been told, based off of Ribot's undercutter design series, so we don't really see that version of Ribot anymore. And at the moment, Egg Chopper looking very hyperactive and a bit too hyperactive. Off comes the moustache at the front as they came into contact with Megalodon, of course, 7th Seeds for this series. And, well, they'll be hoping for another solid run on their way to more potential success. Egg Chopper, a rookie for the competition this time around, but have been shedding wheels like no tomorrow. They're already down 2, but like they're not 2 where you'd expect them together. They're like opposite corners of Egg Chopper, so that kind of limits their manoeuvrability a little bit. Egg Chopper, rookies to LEGO Wars, great fun. Potentially devastating as well. They could have a really fun time if things go well, but it is a tricky heat for them. And Megalodon now looking pretty solid and secure in this fight. There was a little bit of an early scare when that first weapon-to-weapon contact came and the forks came flying up, but they've recovered well here. And there goes a third wheel off of Egg Chopper. And the egg has been cracked, I think. Well, much like Dr. Ivo Robotnik's plans across 30 years of Sonic the Hedgehog games. Close to 35 years now, that's disgusting. And there goes the lid of the Egg Chopper. It's looking a little bit naked now, isn't it? And I have to say, Megalodon, I said they had a little bit of an early scare, but they've recomposed themselves very well and are looking pretty good. And this is why they are the 7th seeds, of course. Coming back for another tilt at the title. And they're going to start off their campaign with a very solid and secure 3 points.
6.
Egg Chopper obliterated. Megalodon the winners. During those initial exchanges, you might have been confused and thought, hey, Egg Chopper looks pretty good. They've got a real chance of causing an upset here. That kind of shattered rather quickly. Eggman was ejected fairly early on, and after the moustache went off of Egg Chopper, it was open season for Megalodon. Off came 3 wheels. And that was basically the end of the fight as a contest. The 4th wheel came off right at the end over here by the arena wall. Megalodon get 3 points.
An absolute wheelectomy from Megalodon gives them a solid footing on 3 points to start the night. Let's see if DG can match them as there's a full-on lean green mean machine off against Kron.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Off we go then for fight number 2 of the night, and let's hope it's as hyperactive as that first fight and a good initial kind of getaway from both machines. Here we have Disgruntled Guardian, seeded number 22 for this series, with the big hammer over the top, lots of dry power as well. Against Krotzblow, who are unseeded, they made their way to the play-ins last series, falling out there to Chompy. Of course, Disgruntled Guardian was eliminated by eventual top 16 placer Bulldog Breed in a bit of an upset, so they'll be hoping for better things here. Disgruntled Guardian with the big hammer kind of forlornly comes over, but off comes the lance of Krotzblow. Be wary of that becoming a regular occurrence. In underneath goes the lifting arm of Krotzblow. They've got Disgruntled Guardian off the floor, but they bounce back down, look. Kind of very cagey and wary at the moment between these two. More structural damage to Krotzblow. I think one of the front end sort of passive forks have come off, so that's concerning for them, and part of the face of Krotzblow as well. You can see it bowing in the middle there as well. Krotzblow. Disgruntled Guardian will be wary of that. Seeded machine in their sophomore campaign. Krotzblow have been here for a while. 2 good green machines in the arena. Down comes the hammer of Disgruntled Guardian. That's the first real hammer shot we've seen land a meaningful connection onto Krotzblow. There's a second. Krotzblow over the pit. Disgruntled Guardian goes for the pit, doesn't get it, or a second time, or a third time. That's unfortunate. It eventually goes down. Disgruntled Guardian have the pit opened. They have shown their intentions in this fight. Down comes the hammer, misses though. Krotzblow got away, and again. So poor firing of the hammer there from Disgruntled Guardian. That's better. Over and over again on the top of Krotzblow. That's more like it. Krotzblow, after starting quite well in this fight, have seemed to have petered out a little bit. Krotzblow, thermal cutout issues, rearing their head here. Down comes the hammer of Disgruntled Guardian. Over and over again. That big Tweedy energy coming in to kind of disrupt Krotzblow here. Kind of tentative, and there it goes! Disgruntled Guardian, what were they doing there? Oh dear. Good control fight between these two. I thought that Krotzblow started pretty sprightly and was on top in the opening sort of exchanges of the fight. As the fight wore on, those thermal cutout issues, as we've known Krotzblow to suffer, did rear their head eventually, not to the point where they were absolutely dead on their feet, but they were absolutely struggling for sure. Poor driving from Disgruntled Guardian left them pitted.
A good bit of opportunistic driving from Kron to send them joint top. Next up, Megalodon is in action again as it's Project Shadow's time to start their campaign.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Away we go for fight number 3 of the night, and the debut of Project Shadow in LEGO Wars Series 6, they take on Megalodon, who immediately get their front fork ripped away once again. We saw that in the first fight with Egg Chopper, and you'd have to say the ultimate life form probably has a little bit more pedigree with that angled horizontal spinner. Project Shadow unseeded this time around. Made it to the round of 32 last series, were beaten there by Kelsey Hammer. Can Project Shadow get a return to form in LEGO Wars Series 6, where they've ripped off the front forks of both sides of Megalodon? That is going to hamper Megalodon somewhat. They're not going to be at their most effective now. Project Shadow will be happy with that. They have had a pretty decent pre-season, you have to say, doing well in internationals, getting all the way to the top 4 there. Had some upgrades as well, a bigger weapon motor. They'll be hoping to improve on last series' performance. And they'll be hoping, of course, to escape the Radical Highway. They seem to have been there for quite a while. Megalodon, already a win under their belts for this series. The 7th seeds coming back on the attack, weapon to weapon with Project Shadow. And Project Shadow does seem to be struggling to get that weapon spun up now, though. Megalodon, starting slowly, is coming back into the fight quite nicely. Good work from the aquatic drum spinner. Project Shadow pushes Megalodon back onto the arena spikes, circles itself back towards the pit button and steadies itself, and down goes the pit. So, pit activated by Project Shadow. They'll be hoping to pit Megalodon sooner rather than later. Take the big plunge into the depths of their arena pit. Project Shadow weapon now up to speed once again, comes into contact with Megalodon. Damage sustained by Shadow though. I think it was Shadow, maybe it was off Megalodon, I can't quite tell what piece has come off where there. Megalodon up to speed again. That weapon does seem very reliable on Megalodon, doesn't it? Which is great news for them. They'll be hoping to progress even further than they did last series. A top 8 finish in LEGO Wars Series 5. Knocked out there in the end by eventual runners-up Duck. They'll be hoping to maybe progress to a semi-final this time around. Project Shadow, they'll be hoping to rekindle some form of their own. A round of 32 berth does kind of seem a little bit low for them. Speaking of low, that front wheel of Megalodon is getting very low purchase on the arena floor. I think it's bent and buckled. Maybe it's come into contact with Project Shadow's weapon and is now pinned on that front corner. You can see it's struggling to translate. It's all bent and buckled. We're going to get a tie between these two. A tentative and tactical fight between these two. Megalodon and Project Shadow go to time. And the judges. Good fight. Well, in the early knockings of the fight, Project Shadow were the ones in the ascendancy. They did seem to be having weapon issues for a good while in the fight, though, after they knocked those forks off, and they did have to rely on their drive power. That's where Megalodon came back into the fight and were able to get some good hits off of their own. Towards the end of the fight, we saw Project Shadow's weapon come back, and it did cause critical damage there, where it pinned the front wheel of Megalodon. Could that be decisive with the judges?
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Project Shadow. The damage to the drive made the difference for Shadow to take victory, but that extra point was enough to push Megalodon top outright. Their lead may be short-lived though, as Kron now has its second fight against the wayward Egg Chopper.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Off we go, Egg Chopper. We saw some hyperactivity in the first fight from them. They've got their wheels reattached. Kront's blow. A decent performance against Disgruntled Guardian, if not a spectacular one. You know, they were seemingly on top for phases against Disgruntled Guardian. Eventually got them down the pit. There goes the mustache of Egg Chopper. You can see Robotnik in the middle, hovering away, and it is very loosely mounted. Speaking of loosely mounted, those wheels have failed once again on Egg Chopper. There goes the lifter of Kront's blow, up and down very slowly. The 4-bar lifter. Need a high voltage servo in there, Oliver. Needs to be faster than that these days. One of the 4 bars in the competition of LEGO Wars this time around. 3 wheels look on Egg Chopper, pushing back Kront's blow into that corner, and Kront's blow remains statuesque for a second, gets moving once again though. I think Eggman has taken a tumble over by the arena wall there by the pit button. Egg Chopper I don't know what Egg Chopper's doing. I think Egg Chopper knows what Egg Chopper's doing, to be honest with you. Pit bomb activated! Oh my goodness me! They were lingering on that pit there, and the trapdoor went down, but they survive in the nick of time, and now Kronsplo looking a little bit slow and sluggish. Egg Chopper, can they take advantage of this? They are pretty good at rocking and rolling around the arena. Loads of ground clearance, good for terrain driving Egg Chopper, but they know... Oh, well, what are these wheels held on with? PVA glue? Papier-mâché?
No
there goes another
way.
one!
I can't believe
Just keep falling off! What are they doing? They must be held on with blue tack or something. And Egg Chopper is down to one wheel once again. Kronsplo is simply winning this by existing in this fight. I have to say, it's a real shame because Egg Chopper seems like a world of fun to drive, but having an absolute mare of it in this fight. Egg Chopper on one wheel, can it get out of its own circumference? It is doing so at the moment. Kronsplo coming in for the coup de grace, maybe get them down the pit. The big heave-ho towards the arena black hole. Egg Chopper on the lip of the pit. Can they manoeuvre themselves away? It's going to be a struggle with just one wheel on their wagon. And it's going to inexorably fall into the pit. Yes, they are. Down they go. Kronsplo wins and another 3 points on the board. Some early quality close control from Kronsplo was the deciding factor in this fight, and some questionable choices with regard to fastening and securing their wheels from Egg Chopper. There went Eggman over by the screws there. Egg Chopper lingering on the pit just got away. That was amazing driving when they did that, but look at this, under no pressure, 2 wheels just give way on Egg Chopper, and in the end, the best place for it, the pit.
Those wheels just seem to be held on with nothing but hope on Egg Chopper, as Kron is having its best run in a long while. Meanwhile, Guardian looks to get their campaign back on track against Project Shadow.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Away we go for Disgruntled Guardian and Project Shadow in the arena. The Hammerbot and the horizontal spinner, or the angled spinner, whichever way you want to describe it really. Disgruntled Guardian, a loss in fight 1. They'll need to start recovering, and quickly, because, well, they'll be conscious of the fact they've still got to fight the other seed in this heat. Project Shadow have already fought Megalodon and managed to get some points on the board as a result. 2 points against them. Disgruntled Guardian, no points from fight 1, so they'll be conscious of that going into this fight. Can they get anything on the board here? Project Shadow goes weapon to weapon once again, or weapon to wedge, I suppose. Down comes the hammer of Disgruntled Guardian, misses. Back on the attack though. And good aggression so far from the Disgruntled Guardian, missing with that hammer swing though. That's no good. Up to speed again goes Project Shadow. We did see it kind of struggling a few times with spin up in the first fight they had, but they managed to get enough points on the board to take the judges' win. They'll be conscious of that here as well. Project Shadow's weapon up to speed once more. Disgruntled Guardian trying to chase and harry them down. Not quite able to get round to them back and sides though at the moment. Project Shadow just missing out on another hammer blow there from Disgruntled Guardian. Big hit there from Project Shadow. Up to speed once again. Disgruntled Guardian zips around the arena floor, hits the pit button and drives straight over the pit they just opened. What are they doing? Disgruntled Guardian down the pit.
6.
Oh, a terrible driving mistake there. They got a bit overexcited, and Project Shadow takes absolute advantage there. 3 points on the board for the ultimate life form. Disgruntled Guardian down the pit. Oh dear. I don't want to talk too early, but I think the term sophomore slump is coming to mind for Disgruntled Guardian thus far. Maybe the pressure of being a seeded machine is getting to them. They started pretty well in this fight against Project Shadow. They kept them under pressure and kept them honest for the fight's duration, really. They were still in the fight very much so until this moment here. Absolutely brainless. Project Shadow taking full advantage, and 3 well-deserved points.
A horrendous bit of driving from Guardian gives Shadow 3 points and leaves the 22nd seeds in deep trouble at the halfway point. Megalodon won't be pleased with 3rd currently, but they can go top if they beat current leaders Kronsplo in our next fight.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Halfway through our heat then, and how would you summarise how things are going thus far for these two? I would say for Kronsplo, you've got to give them an A+, surely. They've won 2 fights by KO. Maybe the manner in which that they won them is slightly flattering, but, you know, 6 points on the board out of a possible 6. You can't really argue with it. Megalodon, meanwhile, I mean, they're on 4, so it's not a bad effort from them. They did lose via the judges against Project Shadow, but we've seen that Project Shadow is also currently unbeaten so far this heat. So maybe a C for Megalodon? I think they'll be hoping to see some improving results here, though, for the King of the Sea. And that's a great lift there from Kronsplo. Look at that, digging in. Lots of grip there from the 4-bar, getting in underneath and trying to prise Megalodon off the floor. Has to give it up eventually, though. Megalodon there in a good smack, though. In underneath Kronsplo and pushing it back against the arena wall. Good response here from Megalodon. That big drum spinner has been effective thus far. Kronsplo nearly going a similar way to what Disgruntled Guardian did in the last fight. It just drove straight down the pit after opening it. They think better of it, though. Good push, though, from Disgruntled... Oh, sorry, not from Disgruntled Guardian. They're in another fight. From Kronsplo into the arena wall, and Megalodon now stuck in the corner. Can they get away from that corner? They're pinned on a piece of debris, I think, in that corner, and Kronsplo now bringing that 4-bar into play. Can they get in underneath and kind of chuck them over? They're trying their best. Megalodon now up to speed themselves, but Megalodon are still pinned in that corner of the arena, and they're being counted down and counted out. They are high centered on the top armor of Kronsplo, but they get away in the nick of time. The timer was counting down, but they've managed to avoid being knocked out by a piece of debris that they knocked off themselves. Now, what can Kronsplo do? They've been driving a lot more happily in this fight. No thermal cutout yet from Kronsplo. Over the arena spikes goes Kronsplo. Back on the attack again, keeping the pressure on Megalodon. Megalodon forced back into that corner once more. Megalodon under pressure here, the 7th seeds. That drum up to speed again. Doesn't really get any more major, contact and knocking more pieces off of Kronsplo, so that's a good response from Kronsplo. Kronsplo pushes back. Once again, loads of grip from those 4 wheels. Pushed back again, though, by Megalodon in turn and onto the arena spikes. And Megalodon have them pinned on the arena spikes. And away now from Kronsplo. Over towards the pit. Back weapon to weapon once again, and a good slam back into the arena wall at the far side of the arena. It's a battered and bruised Kronsplo, but it's a brave Kronsplo at the moment. Still very much in the fight. Megalodon, meanwhile, we've seen them cause damage in the fight, but we're not really seeing them at their best, and we're going to go to time between these two. It's been an excellent driving fight between the pair of them. Lots of back and forth. No clear winner for me. I have no idea which way this one's going to go. The judges will have to decide between Kronsplo and Megalodon. What a wonderful display between these two. Well, from the off, these two were at each other's throats, and it didn't really stop the entire fight. Early aggression from Kronsplo, early damage and weapon effectiveness, I'd have to say, went to Megalodon. Further aggression and good control from Kronsplo. They got high centered and stuck in the corner for a while. Megalodon, they recovered. Kronsplo then pushed them back into the corner and towards the screws. Excellent fight, this.
And the winner by unanimous decision is Kronsplo. The green 4-bar might be firmling, but it did enough to further extend their lead and secure an unlikely bracket spot. Down at the bottom though, it's crunch time for Egg Chopper and Disgruntled Guardian to get some points on the board before it's too late.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Continuing with the report card theming, you'd have to say maybe Egg Chopper gets a D versus the F I'm going to give to Disgruntled Guardian. Why does Egg Chopper get a D? I hear you asking when they're on the same amount of points. Well, first of all, there's the fun factor of the wheels just fall off and it's hilarious. But also, Disgruntled Guardian gets an F because 1, they're a seeded robot, and 2, they've thrown fights away of their own accord. Like, both of the fights that they've lost by KO, they were in control of. They had the chance to go and win it themselves, and they threw it away themselves. So I'm punishing them accordingly. Egg Chopper, meanwhile, they have no pedigree, they have no hope, but we love them anyway. And so far, as they've stayed true to form, the wheel within seconds has fallen off again. I'm sure they'll lose more wheels before the end of this fight as well, but on cue, there it goes. Eggman takes a hammering as well. But Egg Chopper, it's trying its best. And it is its first time here, and I love it. It just keep falling off. The wheels just keep falling off. And there goes Eggman. Well, Disgruntled Guardian.
He's not gonna get away with this.
I hope you enjoy the points. Disgruntled Guardian. I'd say you deserve it, but, at this point, poor old Egg Chopper, what can they do? What can Egg Chopper do? Not very much, I think, is the answer. They're not being counted out yet, though, so they're not technically out of the fight, but the fight as a contest is over. You know, Disgruntled Guardian is going to win this, let's face it. Unless there is an absolute calamity from Disgruntled Guardian. Egg Chopper still able to spin the weapon, though. They may have actually changed the design slightly between fights. They've got those little supports at the back, you can see there. Maybe it helps them drive on one wheel. Maybe they knew this was coming. And they are able to get out of their circumference as well, so on-the-fly adaptations for Egg Chopper. Still in the fight, still using that weapon. Disgruntled Guardian, this is your moment. You are the 22nd seed against a rookie robot with 1 wheel out of 4 still remaining. Take advantage, come on. Dig deep. You know, if you want to stay in LEGO Wars Series 6, this is your time. Hammer, swing and a miss from Disgruntled Guardian. Over the arena spikes goes Disgruntled Guardian. Up to speed still is Egg Chopper. It's piloting itself, to be honest. Egg Chopper still in the fight. They are rapidly running out of time in this fight, so if they can hold on for a point on the board, it'll be an incredible achievement with just 1 wheel. They are still operating, so at the moment, the fight is very much still on. Disgruntled Guardian trying to force Egg Chopper towards the pit. The pit, though, has not been opened yet. And Egg Chopper will try and stay in the fight for as long as they can. Disgruntled Guardian now have only 10 seconds. Look at that. They do not have long at all. Egg Chopper stuck in the corner. They're going to survive, I think, to the JD. Unless Disgruntled Guardian can get the pit button. No, they don't. We go to time between these two. I think we know who the winner is. But oh my goodness, what an open goal missed. Egg Chopper's wheels on their wagon, or the mustache, didn't really last very long in this fight, and I thought surely an easy 3-point pickup and go home for Disgruntled Guardian, but they could not finish off a 1-wheeled Egg Chopper. Oh dearie me, Disgruntled Guardian, this is your sophomore campaign and it has not gone to plan at all. A maximum of 2 points from this fight. I hope the judges go against them, but I don't think they will.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Disgruntled Guardian. They may have the win, but I think Guardian will be ruining not opening the pits at the end, meaning they will need a KO against Megalodon to have any hope of progressing. Kron, though, has the chance to join Bricker and Bop and being undefeated should they topple Shadow.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1. Activate.
Away we go then for fight number 8 and the final fight of the night for Kronsplo, the penultimate fight of the night for Project Shadow. Kronsplo has the opportunity to go undefeated throughout the heat, and at the moment you'd have to say they're looking pretty good for that. Look at that, the lifter levering up Project Shadow against the arena wall. Gets off that lifter now though, does the ultimate life form back on its wheels. Project Shadow themselves, by the way, they can also go this heat undefeated, but they have 2 fights to go. So lots of work to do, and continuing on with the usual grading system. Project Shadow, you probably give them a B, wouldn't you? They were on 2 wins out of 2, they're undefeated thus far, and you'd have to say pretty happy days. One of them was a JD though, so they'll have to be aware of that, and they are slightly more experienced than other robots in the heat. Project Shadow up to speed with that big weapon at the front. Can it bring it to bear on Kronsplo? Kronsplo levering slightly. Project Shadow over by the screws. Gets away now. Kronsplo over by the rear of the arena. By the logo basically. Weapon up to speed again for Project Shadow, trying to bring it in on the attack again. That front end of Kronsplo has taken a bit of a battering, hasn't it? There's a corner there which has been flapping in the wind. Kronsplo, those thermal cutout issues rearing their head once again for them. They get away now though. Project Shadow chasing. Can Project Shadow stop the run that Kronsplo is on? It's looking pretty good for a Kronsplo qualification to the bracket, but they'll be wanting a high seeding, they'll be wanting to win the heat. Project Shadow ultimately standing in their way at the moment. A Kronsplo win here, I don't think they can be caught. So, looking pretty good at the moment. Kronsplo. And a good push again on Project Shadow into the arena wall. Project Shadow caught between the arena wall and Kronsplo. And look at that, levering up. Can it quite get Kronsplo over and out? Not quite. Comes back down again and gets away. Now Kronsplo stays still for a moment, like it's resetting almost, and comes back on the offensive once more, chasing Project Shadow down. Project Shadow has caused more damage there to Kron's blow. Can it bring that big angle horizontal and use it to some fruition to give them a chance of beating Kron's blow? Kron's blow are starting to me at least, to appear slightly weaker towards the end of this fight, whereas Project Shadow are in the ascendancy. Project Shadow stands off at the moment. Kron's blow, have they had that wheel pinned on that front end? I wonder. Kron's blow now looking a little bit more wary, and we're counting down to the final 5 seconds. Will there be a late twist in the tail here? We're going to go to tie between Kron's blow and Project Shadow just about. Kron's blow beats the buzzer before being pushed down the pit, but it goes to the judges. Early control and aggression went in favour of Kron's blow for me, the lifter, proving its effectiveness. And look at that great harassing and driving around the arena floor from Kron's blow. They even opened the pit, which was where their final resting place was, but they weren't out before the buzzer. Project Shadow came back into the fight. Kron's blow, I feel, really did die off towards the end. Tough one for the judges, this.
And the winner, by unanimous decision, is Project Shadow. They've been great tonight, but the ultimate lifeform was just one step too far for Kron as Shadow breaks their tie with Megalodon going into the Seeds clash. The Shark Drum hasn't been at their best tonight, but they are the favourites, knowing just a point is enough to secure at worst a play-in berth, so the pressure is on the Grumpy Axbot to pull out all the stops.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Away we go then for our seed clash of the night. Megalodon seed 7 and Disgruntled Guardian seeded 22. Permutations then for you. It is very simple. Megalodon needs to lose by KO to not progress to the round of 32, or at least the play-ins. And Disgruntled Guardian needs to win by KO. It is that simple. No other permutations will do it for Disgruntled Guardian. If they win by knockout, it will put them both on 5 points, which means that there will be a tie, and on countback, of course, it'll go to Disgruntled Guardian because they won the head-to-head. But I don't think they're going to win the head-to-head because they're being absolutely torn to pieces here by Megalodon. The front wedge is completely bent and buckled now, and it's completely gone now. And that's the end of any hope of Disgruntled Guardian coming back and stopping Megalodon in this heat. Megalodon vicious here. It's swimming almost like a shark, you could say, circling its prey before Disgruntled Guardian gets gobbled up and sent packing out of the competition. Disgruntled Guardian's hammer comes hitting down over and over again. Disgruntled Guardian know they need a miracle now to progress into the play-ins, but I don't think they're going to get it. Megalodon in the ascendancy and surely heading through to the play-ins with a performance like this. Disgruntled Guardian in all kinds of trouble. The wedge at the front has been ripped away, bent and buckled chassis. It's all coming up Megalodon right now, but it hasn't got the job done yet. They need to be wary of that. They may have got the job done now, though. That wheel has been ripped away, although it is still kind of functioning, which is impressive to say. But at the moment, for me, there's only one winner. Megalodon in the ascendancy, looking so good. Rocking and rolling as Disgruntled Guardian. They've got that suspension on that one side, hydraulic suspension, but I don't think it's going to help them. Just drive down the pit. It's where they belong at this point. And there goes the other wheel. Disgruntled Guardian down the pit in a blaze of glory, defeated comprehensively by Megalodon.
6.
Megalodon gets 3 points, and they will finish in the play-in spot at worst. Well, Disgruntled Guardian knew that their best opportunity of getting any hope of some bracket action this series was to win this fight and fight their way through the play-ins. They didn't even get that opportunity. They were systematically ripped apart by Megalodon. Megalodon may have left it too little too late for a top 32 spot automatically, but they will be at least in the play-ins. They need to rely on snookers from Egg Chopper in the next fight, but a comprehensive victory here. Oh dear, poor old Disgruntled Guardian.
Megalodon reminds us why they are the top drum in the series as they destroy their fellow seeds to end Guardian's chance of a second bracket run. Normally this is where the episode would conclude, but of course there is one more fight tonight between the Sega frenemies. Let's find out what pent-up rage Shadow has to release against the already limping Doctor.
Roboteers, stand by. 3, 2, 1, activate.
Our final fight of the night then sees Project Shadow taking on Egg Chopper, and Egg Chopper goes straight for Project Shadow. These two, of course, familiar with each other from the Sonic the Hedgehog universe of video games and films and all sorts. At this point, and there goes the moustache of Egg Chopper. Maybe Eggman created Project Shadow. Who knows? You know, if you played Shadow the Hedgehog, that is one of the possibilities that Shadow is an android. And there goes Dr. Eggman. But in this context, here are the permutations for you. Egg Chopper can do nothing. They cannot get into the play-ins, so they are here to play Party Pooper. Project Shadow, if they win the fight by any means, I believe they get victory for the heat. If they don't win the fight, then they are in the second spot. If they lose by knockout, then they are in the play-ins. It is that simple. So just don't get knocked out. Very easy for Project Shadow, and at the moment, you'd have to say, looking pretty good for it. The wheels of Egg Chopper once again have already started, right on cue, have already started to separate themselves from the machine, although this time it is only the front two that have come off, so that's not too bad for Egg Chopper. They can still function like that quite happily. Look at that, see the weapon is spinning up to speed as well, so they'll be pleased with that. Project Shadow chasing them down. They'll be hoping to secure heat victory and, of course, an unbeaten run through the heat, and more damage to stay there, actually, to Project Shadow. One of the front wedges has come off as well, although part of the spinner of Egg Chopper has come apart as well. A third wheel off the wagon, and it's looking a little bit bleak now for Egg Chopper. Project Shadow in the ascendancy. Weapon spins up. Can Egg Chopper get away in time? They're circling, and there goes the final wheel. It's like Millian Bug in Robot Wars Series 4 against Razor. All the legs have been ripped off. There's no hope. There's no drive. Egg Chopper thoroughly defeated here. And Project Shadow is going to win the heat unbeaten on 10 points. Down the pit goes Egg Chopper. Project Shadow is your winners. A close fought fight. This was not. Egg Chopper came out of the traps very quickly, but soon found out what they were dealing with was a absolute top level machine at its very best. Project Shadow unseeded this time around, but make no mistake, they are one to watch out for in the bracket. Egg Chopper taken apart piece by piece, wheel by wheel. In the end, ended up down the pit after a fun campaign, but Project Shadow wins Heat D undefeated.
A clinical beatdown from Shadow, with a swipe on the stranded Eggman being the icing on the cake to overtake Kron and finish the night on top. It's been a brilliant night in the arena with action across the board, but in the end Project Shadow ends the night as heat winners as they back up their promise from internationals. While on the other end of things, Egg Chopper has been throwing wheels left, right and centre, but has been a blast of character that makes this series all the more fun. That is all from us tonight, but join us next week when the Series 2 champs Waddle Dee return to action alongside former Grand Finalist Emulator. For now though, I've been your host David Smeg, and we'll see you in the next one.
It's definitely pulling itself off.
It is. Eggman's in the cut chair.
Well, that's all on camera, yeah, on three angles of it, actually.
Surround sound. The cut chair. Chop, chop, chop.